Hi everyone, you're all very welcome to another educational post here at the Alpha Capital Group. So in this video, we are going to very quickly go through all of the key updates within our new Trademate panel, taking you through all the information, how to effectively use that information to your advantage as a trader, and of course, understanding all of the different bits and pieces that we obviously have to offer as well. So firstly, on our trading dashboard, you will see when you go into the Trademate panel down here where it says Trademate on our dashboard, you will see this secondary screen will open up with all of our information, the economic calendar, resources for market news, market reports, trade journals, and so on. Okay. Now, firstly, if you were to look at the market screener section, you will also see that underneath, should I say, the market screener section, we do of course have trading opportunities. Now, within the trading opportunities section, okay, this is where we get the different technical analysis aspects of the different FX pairs, commodities, and indices within the financial market. So, of course, in here now, the trading opportunities, it breaks down different scenarios, it breaks down different pieces of information regarding each of these different pairs. You can obviously see them here randomized, different setups, different patterns, different structures that are emerging on these pairs, and then being able to take advantage of them as well. Now, that's not to say these are trading signals or anything associated with that. It's just for education purposes, because of course, the more information you have on the assets that you're looking to trade, the better the decision-making process should be. Okay, so without a doubt, that's really kind of the most important thing here. Now, again, in terms of the different assets here, as I said here, the first screen is obviously Forex, but it has got a wide range of different Forex pairs, different structures, different patterns, and formulations developing on each of the different assets, broadly speaking. And of course, at the very top, you can filter through. You can filter by Forex, by commodities, to the gold, silver, etc. And of course, then your indices as well. So the NASDAQ and the DAX, for example, the Hong Kong 50, the FTSE in the UK, you can assimilate a very clear structured viewpoint on the different time frames as well. Okay, so that's obviously quite important. If you go to the settings, then you can filter by assets, you can filter by pairs, you can filter by obviously the different assets, and of course the pattern types below. So key levels, Fibonacci patterns, targeting patterns, consecutive candles, any big movements is located as well, and of course breakouts for emerging structures that are currently in development in terms of waiting to play out. So this is obviously very useful, very handy. So of course, if you feel like you want kind of reassurance on a particular pair, well, obviously this might help aid your strategy, aid your plan as well, broadly speaking. So that's the trading opportunities section. The next key element here is the volatility analysis. Now, what is volatility analysis? Well, volatility analysis is a fairly detailed and comprehensive tool that allows traders to understand the expected price range and the expected movement in certain asset classes under certain periods of time. So whether it's a 1 hour range, whether it's a 4 hour range, whether it's a daily range, it allows you to give, I suppose, a more detailed understanding as to volatility in terms of the average daily moves as well. That could be a considerational thought. And of course, then being able to say, well, if you're looking to sell a specific asset and you're not sure where to put your stop loss, well, the likelihood is if you're trading a 1 hour structure, then obviously the likelihood is over a 1 hour structure, 1 hour piece of price action, where it's it could be a 4 hour, and daily, and so on. So it's just to give you, again, more assistance. You can understand the volatility within the different assets and help with your decision-making process, broadly speaking. All right, so that is the volatility analysis. Of course, you can kind of filter through the settings. So current volatility, so it has different pairs, different assets. Of course, if I want to maybe change this to Euro NZD, it looks at the Euro NZD, it looks at the different price movement ranges, etc., different days of the week, hours of the day. So it breaks things down into a fairly detailed composition and digestible information for traders to obviously view as well. Okay, so the next thing on our list then is a pre-existing screener. Okay, so the screener obviously has information regarding the different asset classes. So for example, the stocks, the Forex, and of course cryptos as well, for those who trade cryptos as well. Now, of course, if we look at Forex, for example, it looks at price movements, it looks at the 1 day movement, the percentage moves, daily ranges, weekly performance. So obviously, of course, what's the big outlier this week? The massive outlier this week has been dollar yen strength right through from Monday evening, very late Monday night into early Tuesday morning, right through the course of the week. The dollar yen has significantly moved lower, and therefore on the weekly performance we can say, well, dollar yen really this week has been down 4.5%, and of course you're able to get a detailed understanding of that as well. So the screener is obviously quite useful as well in that regard. Now, the next piece of information is the market overview, and it's just very, very quick synopsis. Again, popular assets, gainers, losses, etc. So those who are maybe heavy losses, maybe outperformers or upside gainers. So for example, there in the crypto space, you can see some of the outperformers, but of course you can filter through via stocks, and you can also filter through in the FX markets. Of course, if I was to say gainers, well, the outperformers today, the Indonesian rupee against the dollar is up 7%, right? The euro against the Panamanian balboa is up 1%. Very, very interesting asset classes. But of course, it just goes through that as well very, very quickly. And of course, on the downside, the Argentinian peso against the US dollar is down a mere modest 9% today. So obviously, hyperinflation must be a significant element within the Argentinian peso and obviously the Argentinian economy. Okay, so that then brings us to market overview. The next thing on our list is the matrix, and the matrix gives us the heat maps. It looks at the popular assets. So for example, here, if I go to the heat map scenario, I can see, well, over the course of, let's say, the day, right, the NZD has been the dominant asset. You'll see that the NZD is pretty much up against everything across the board. Even the pound has done quite well against everything across the board. So naturally enough, the biggest things we can say today, well, logically, if we look at the heat map, the NZD and the pound have probably been the outperformers today, right? If we look at the underperformers, you can see it here as well. The South African rand has obviously been on the inverse. So it's important to obviously look at these things retrospectively as well. The last thing is just the ticker tape, and that's just obviously very, very quick, again, very, very quick overviews of the different asset classes. Of course, indices, EMAA, so that's obviously European-based indices as well, so you can kind of factor in the performance. So largely speaking today, we can see indices up across the board in the US, very, very quickly, with the exception of the volatility index. But we know beforehand that the volatility index and the stock market performance are generally negatively correlated. Therefore, we can deduce that obviously risk sentiment today is heightened. Why? Because the stock markets are kind of pushing higher, or trying to push higher. And of course, the indices then are obviously doing well in the background. So that obviously looks at the indices. It looks at Forex, FX space. Of course, dollar has been somewhat mixed today. It's up against some, it's down against others. So for example, the Kiwi as well, it's obviously seen a bit of a move there. So that's pretty much the ticker tape. The next thing on our list then is the economic calendar, right? So the economic calendar is really, really important for those who trade fundamentals, because of course, this gives all of the key pieces of economic data. It gauges the impact, of course. The higher the star, the more impactful it'll have on the markets. And then, of course, looking at the prior data, the consensus, and then the actual information as it's released. Now, of course, we also have a detailed section here where it says analysis. This will be important because, of course, if you hit the analysis tab, you will see once the tab opens up, which is currently just loading. Just bear with me a moment. Let me just filter by the pair. So obviously, the Japanese inflation data, I'm just going to put in USD JPY. Okay, so as we look at USD JPY, the effect on the movements in USD JPY in the face of Japanese inflation, right? So this obviously looks at the data for the last year or so, the consensus, the actual, and the deviation. So the delta is effectively whether it's an upside surprise or whether it's an up or downside surprise, okay? So naturally enough, it's able to determine the 4-hour trends in retrospect of the inflation data as well, all right? So that is the economic calendar. Next on our list then is the market news. So of course, for those who trade news, for those who are looking for additional information, all the latest news. So of course, the big thing this week has been all associated to Tesla and Elon Musk and Twitter, seeing whether he's going to step down from Twitter. And obviously we saw Tesla ramp up kind of the early part of this week because of course, Tesla, anything negative regarding Twitter, Tesla has actually outperformed. And anything positive regarding Twitter, Tesla has negatively performed. So you can see how there's a negative correlation there between Twitter's performance and obviously Tesla's performance, because of course it's affected by Musk and his narratives that he's pushing into the markets at this moment in time. So that's obviously quite important as well. Forex news as well. So of course, useful Forex articles here, dollar related, inflation related, Fed, interesting articles here. Definitely worth looking at these pieces of information as well. And that then really brings us to the trade journal. So the trade journal then looks at right, when you're doing your research, when you're doing your analysis, can you look back through your trades? Can you look back through your trades? Are you recording the information? And then, of course, being able to say, well, when you record the information, is it helping you with your trading performance? And generally speaking, the trading journal will help you with that, because you're able to say what your entry confirmations are, what your exit strategy is, what's your risk management, what assets are you trading, why are you trading those specific assets. So all of those questions really are very, very important, and all of that should be contained within the trade journal as well. The last few pieces of information is really the market report. So the market report obviously looks at all of the information associated to the markets, of course, formulations, performance. So of course, we do have a sign up form here. So if you want to sign up for the daily market reports, there's 3 markets per day for the Asia session, the European session, and the US session. So of course, if you want to get those articles, get those emails, all you just have to do is tick the sessions that you want, tick the market overview report, put in your email, and accept the terms and conditions to say that you're happy for us to send you those documents. And then of course, once you're subscribed, you'll be added to the email list, and you'll receive those emails regularly and through the course of the day, every single day. All right. So the last thing then is the TradingView chart. And the TradingView chart is obviously linked to TradingView. So I'm sure everyone knows what TradingView is. If you don't, TradingView is effectively a charting software that allows traders to analyze the market ahead of entering and exiting positions. So of course, it looks at different outliers in terms of the strategy, in terms of the key levels, the price action, the trend analysis, all of the integral things that traders would effectively take into consideration when they're trading. So maybe the use of EMAs, maybe the use of moving averages, RSIs, stochastics. You can incorporate all of these indicators into the section as well. Now, this TradingView chart is just uploading at the minute. However, it should appear, and of course, you have all your drawing tools on your left-hand side. You've got additional information here on the right-hand side, and of course, then you have your indicators tab as well. So if you want to add any indicators or anything like that, or you want to filter through the time frame. So let's say, for example, I want to move from a shorter time frame to maybe a daily time frame. It'll obviously do that as well. Now, let's just say we go from Euro USD to maybe GBP USD. Okay, so let's look at GBP USD. Let's just allow the chart to load up. So, of course, this is obviously TradingView there as well. Now, the thing is just loading at the minute. However, of course, the TradingView chart will appear. You can add, obviously, your indicators, your retracement tools, anything you're looking for, your trend lines, and then you can be able to trade accordingly off the back of that. So this is just a very, very quick video to take you through the Trademate panel, to all the information we have to offer, to effectively use that information and obviously get the most out of it. Now, some people prefer not to do it. They're just more self-reliant. That is also perfectly fine. Okay. This is more geared towards people who are proactively looking for more information to help them. If you feel like you don't need it, that is also perfectly fine as well. Because at the end of the day, when you're trading, it all comes back to what your own strategy is, what your individual edge is, the trading edge that you're looking to apply, and then being able to factor in the price action accordingly as well. All right. So that concludes the Trademate panel, everyone. Thank you very much.